I still remember the way the sunlight hit his front porch that day. Warm, golden, and too perfect for the storm that was about to come. I had told myself it was just a simple visit, a polite meeting with his mother, nothing more. After all, Liam and I had only been seeing each other for 3 months. Too soon for something serious, too early for family introductions. Or so I thought, but as soon as his mother's soft smile greeted me, and that front door clicked, shut behind me, I realized I wasn't there just to meet his mom. I was there to meet my past, the part of me I'd tried so hard to bury. If you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and the power of second chances, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that remind the world that compassion still exists. It was a bright Saturday afternoon. The air smelled faintly of rain and jasmine as I parked outside the white bricked house at the edge of Maplewood Street. Liam had texted me that morning. "Mom can't wait to meet you. Don't be nervous. She's going to love you." I had smiled at the message, trying to convince myself that my racing heart was just excitement, not fear. But deep down, I knew it wasn't that simple. I hadn't met anyone's mother in years, not since the day I walked away from my last relationship, one that left scars too deep to show. When Liam opened the door, he looked like a painting in the afternoon light, rolled up sleeves, a dimple in his cheek, that effortless calm that always made me feel safe. "You look perfect," he whispered as I stepped in. The house smelled like cinnamon and something baking. The walls were lined with old photographs, and delicate white curtains fluttered near open windows. It felt like a home that remembered love. Then she appeared, his mother, Elaine. Graceful, silver-haired, wearing a soft lavender cardigan and an expression that could melt anyone's nerves. "So, you're the girl who's stolen my son's smile," she said warmly, extending her hand. Her eyes, however, seemed to study me with quiet intensity, not judgment but curiosity. "Come in, dear. I've been waiting." I smiled politely, holding the bouquet I'd brought, pale pink tulips, and followed her to the living room. Liam excused himself for a few minutes to take a call outside, promising to be right back. That's when it happened. The front door clicked softly as she closed it behind him, and for a moment the world felt still. I stood frozen, the smile on my face faltering. Elaine turned to me, her expression suddenly unreadable. "I know who you are, Maya," she said quietly. My breath caught in my throat. I hadn't told anyone, not even Liam, about my past, about the mistake that had changed everything, about how I had once been engaged years ago and how I'd walked away after an accident. That took a life, not by my hands, but because of a decision I made that night. It was something I'd promised myself never to speak of again. I'm sorry, I don't understand," I stammered, clutching my purse. She sighed softly and motioned for me to sit down. "You should," she said, "because that night you were the one who called the ambulance for my daughter." The world tilted. My knees went weak. I remembered the flashing lights, the rain, the terrified girl bleeding on the road. I'd stayed with her, held her hand until help came. She hadn't made it. I'd given my statement and disappeared from that town forever, haunted by what I saw. And now, years later, I was sitting in her mother's living room. Elaine looked at me, her eyes glistening. "I recognized you the moment I saw your picture on Liam's phone," she said. "I didn't tell him. I needed to see for myself who you were now." The room felt too small, too heavy. I tried to speak, but my voice cracked. "Mrs. Carter, I didn't know. I swear I didn't know Liam was your son. If I had, I know," she interrupted softly. "That's why I asked you. Here today." She paused, her gaze steady. "You've been carrying guilt for a long time, haven't you?" Tears blurred my vision. I nodded. "Every single day. I thought if I moved away, started over, I could forget. But I never did." Elaine's expression softened, the motherly gentleness returning. "My daughter Alina, she wasn't perfect. None of us are. That accident wasn't your fault, Maya. You stayed when others drove past. You tried to save her. I read your statement. I know." Her words hit me like a wave. The years of silent guilt, the sleepless nights, the therapy sessions, that never quite healed the wound, all of it surfaced at once. I broke down, covering my face with trembling hands. "I'm so sorry," I whispered. "I've wanted to tell someone for so long." I just didn't know how. Elaine came closer and placed a gentle hand on mine. "Then let me be the one you tell," she said, "because forgiveness isn't about forgetting, Maya. It's about freeing yourself from the pain that keeps you prisoner." By the time Liam came back inside, my tears had dried, but something inside me had shifted. He noticed the silence immediately, his brow furrowing. "What happened? Did I miss something?" His mother smiled faintly. "No, dear. We were just getting to know each other." She looked at me, her eyes filled with a strange kind of peace. "You have a good heart, Maya. Don't let the past convince you otherwise." For the rest of the afternoon, Elaine insisted I stay for lunch. We talked about art, books, and how Liam once tried to make pancakes and nearly burned the kitchen. It felt surreal, this warmth, this acceptance. I could still feel the ghosts of the past hovering, but they no longer held the same power. Weeks passed, and something incredible happened. Elaine and I became closer than I'd ever imagined possible. She'd call sometimes just to check in, to ask how work was going, or to send me old recipes she thought I'd like. She never mentioned that night again, but I could feel her forgiveness in every word, every gesture. It healed something inside me I didn't know could be healed. Liam never learned the full story, at least not then. But one evening, as we sat by the lake watching the sunset, I told him there were things in my past I wasn't proud of, moments I wished I could change. He took my hand and said, "We've all been through something. What matters is who you are now." I realized then that love wasn't about perfection. It was about understanding, growth, and the courage to face what hurts. Months later, on a bright spring morning, Elaine invited us to her garden. Flowers bloomed everywhere, roses, lavender, lilies, and in the center stood a small wooden bench with a plaque that read, "In memory of Alina, loved, missed, and remembered." She smiled at me and gestured toward it. "I thought maybe you'd want to sit here," she said. "Not to mourn, but to breathe." As I sat on that bench, a soft breeze brushed against my face. For the first time in years, I felt light. The guilt that had clung to me finally began to fade. I realized forgiveness wasn't something others gave me. It was something I had to allow myself to feel. Liam joined me, his arm around my shoulders, and as I looked at Elaine tending to her flowers, humming softly to herself, I knew that this was what peace looked like. Not loud, not dramatic, but quiet and full of grace. Life has a way of bringing people together for reasons we can't always understand. Sometimes it brings you face to face with your past, not to punish you, but to set you free. That day, when I thought I was just meeting his mom, I met something much greater: forgiveness, redemption, and the reminder that even after pain, love still finds a way. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Your engagement helps us keep spreading stories that heal, inspire, and remind us all that there's beauty in second chances. And before you go, tell me in the comments, do you believe people can truly forgive and start again? Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is forgive yourself.